Today we're making one of my favorite appetizers to have with my Italian in-laws, smoked salmon dip. I'm Erin from wellplated.com. Let's hang out while we make this salty, creamy, herby dip. If you are thinking that smoked salmon dip doesn't sound particularly Italian, you are right. But you know what is Italian? A table filled with 25 of my in-laws. This table seats 25 people, and it is packed with all kinds of hors d'oeuvres, meats, Italian cheeses. And this smoked salmon dip fits right in. I'm starting the recipe by creaming together some Greek yogurt and cream cheese. I've let both come to room temperature. That is key, because if you don't let it come to room temperature, your cream cheese will end up a little bit lumpy. Super quick. I like to use a mix of both Greek yogurt and cream cheese. The Greek yogurt is tangy. It also is high in protein, making this more of a healthy smoked salmon dip. I have never met a group of people that takes their pre-meal spread as seriously as my in-laws. Ben's uncle always says, "Why do Italians like to eat while visiting?" It helps to pasta the time. That one gets funnier after a glass of Prosecco. I am now doctoring up our smoked salmon dip. One of my favorite parts about this dip is all of the different layers of flavor. I just juiced in half of a fresh lemon. Now I'm going to add some black pepper, some garlic powder. You don't need to fuss with mincing fresh garlic for this recipe. I find that when it is all blended into a dip, garlic powder is almost better because it incorporates more evenly. Some spicy brown mustard. Adding a little bit of a spicy mustard to your recipes, whether it is a dip or even like a creamy sauce, it just adds a little bit of zing that makes the dip taste more complex. And of course, to make sure everybody's awake, a little bit of hot sauce. You can add as much or as little as you like for your group's spice tolerance. We can handle a fair amount of heat around here, so I go on the more generous side. And now mix it all together. That is looking luscious. I chopped up some fresh dill, and now for the salmon. In between the bowls of different olives, the imported Italian cheeses, and so much antipasti, we always have a smoked fish dip of some kind. When I contributed to the gathering, I brought a smoked salmon dip, this one here, and it was a total hit with everyone. The fish that I have here is a hot smoked salmon. You'll notice that it is kind of firm and flaky. I buy it already smoked. This particular one is from Trader Joe's. And I prefer it in this dip to a cold smoked salmon. A cold smoked salmon is what we think of when you think of a bagel and lox. It's usually really paper thinly sliced. No doubt, it is delicious. But in this dip, I think the big flakes of fish make for the best contrast against the cream cheese. And now we add our chopped fresh dill, about 2 tablespoons, or one great big pinch. And I always save a little bit for garnishing on top. Salmon and dill are such a classic pairing, especially with cream cheese. This is like a super loaded version of the best salmon bagel and cream cheese that I can imagine. As I stir, you'll see the salmon breaks up a bit further. It doesn't need to be completely perfectly incorporated. Those surprise bits of salmon are part of what makes this dip so irresistible. At your next family gathering, don't just leave the contributions to everyone else. With an easy appetizer recipe like this smoked salmon dip, you can provide a delicious addition with very little difficulty. Finish it off with a bit of extra dill for some color. And at this point, you can even pop it into the refrigerator if you want to get ahead before the party. For another super easy, crowd-pleasing appetizer, don't miss my ham and cheese pinwheels. Now that is well plated.